It's Sunday night, 9 o'clock. Welcome to All Lacrosse Live. I'm Gary Groob in Toronto, and with me, as always, is Muffler Mike Kostiuk over in Connecticut. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Excellent. We're missing Shawn tonight. Shawn is AWOL. He's got some things he's got to take care of, but he will be back next week. We miss you, Shawn. Wish you were here with us. We've had a busy week, and I know I've had a busy weekend. We've had a lot of lacrosse going on. I had a chance to be over at the former president of the Brampton Excelsiors, Sig Musil's place earlier today, and got some really cool stuff from him. One was this Man Cup Bowl. This awesome stuff.
Sweet.
I tell you, man, it's just all kinds of things. Another one of these crazy things was he has all these MILL cards from somebody, and I now have all these MILL cards, as well as a bunch of packages that have been unopened as well. So these are really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, around circa 1993 or so. So yeah. Another one of these show and tell items is 2003 Man Cup finalists. This is really great stuff. Yeah, I don't know how good your eyesights are over my left shoulder. There's a great picture of 1887 lacrosse game. It's framed. And, of course, the no parking, lacrosse players only. Others will be slashed. I love it. Love it. Got to have a little levity in this, otherwise you'll go insane. We had a lot of games over in MSL, WLA, OSL, as well as there's a lot of crazy stuff coming out of OJLL that we're going to try and delve into and try and figure out for you. In the meantime, of course, Eduardo is with us. Hello, Eduardo. Welcome.
Hey, Eduardo.
Eduardo's coming to us from St. Augustine, Florida. Otherwise known as the surface. It's hot everywhere. Unless you are sitting in Alaska. It's hot. And I'm sure there's polar bears out there with suntan oil and sunglasses going, when is this heat wave going to be? You know what? Mike, I want you to remind me in the dead of winter in February when it's minus 37 without the wind.
Yep.
And, you can keep meat in this room. And, we can discuss about, that day in June that was 31 degrees and we're also, oh man, it's so hot. I'm not complaining about any of the stuff. I'll take this. I have air conditioning. I can live with this. But before we go any further, just a few things for the network to get it out of the way. It's a reminder that all of our shows are streamed live across Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and also Twitch. And you get all the action on EOPsports.com. Remember to hit the subscribe, follow, and like buttons. Always share. Tell your friends. Tell your coworkers. Tell everybody. We're here. We're live. We're interactive. Enjoy all of our affiliates as well. As you can see, there are shows every day of the week. Trending in the AM is an awesome show. If you have a little bit of time in the morning, go on to EOPsports.com. Check it out. They do just some amazing talk. So it's an interactive show. It is a lot of fun, and it is informative as well. Of course, my favorite is Steel Steps at 10 o'clock on Fridays. Catch up on all the wrestling. Of course, our colleague Pat is one of the mainstays in that. If you've missed a show, no worries. You can grab all the podcasts on all the major podcasting companies, which include Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, and so much more. As well, you can catch it on the YouTube page of EOPsports.com for all of the shows. Or if you're looking for our show in particular, please head on over to our YouTube page at All Across All the Time, where you can catch retro games, interviews, our library of shows, and so much more as well. And more coming. So always lots of things going on. Remember, you can stay up to date with all sports by visiting EOPsports.com with great articles from our huge staff of contributors. While you're there, please subscribe to our weekly newsletter. Lots of information for everybody. Dave, what's going on?
Hey,
Glad
Dave.
to have you with us. We're doing just great. See what I don't mind. Yeah, I get it. But I'm pretty sure Saskatchewan is pretty warm right now, too. It is a heat wave that's all across here, so yeah.
Eduardo could just meet you in the meat locker in Coburg for a major series game.
I tell you,
if you want to cool off.
Sounding more and more appealing tonight, and it got kind of hot in there. We'll get into that, but Oakville is undefeated no more. the Kostiuk stun the Rock. But we'll get into that. Don't you despair. But a few things of reminder. Remember, just around the corner now, only 2 weeks away, is the third annual Rob McDougall Memorial. Remember, we got a Junior A game at 3 p.m., which will include the Oakville Buzz. Celebrity game at 6 p.m. I will be there for that. All kinds of celebrities from everywhere going to be there. It is a who's who of everything. So you're going to want to be there. It is a lot of fun. It's a great game as well. And you figure it's one of these, where pussyfoot around and do it. No, man, it's an excellent game. A lot of fun. And while that's all going on, a silent auction from 4 till 10. All kinds of great stuff. A beer garden, live music, everything you can ask for. Only about $10. It is well worth your time. And last year, they even had the Mimico P-meal bacon sandwiches out front there. Man, I would go there just for that. Hell, I go to the Mimico games just to catch that, man. It's awesome. Greatest thing ever invented. P-meal on a bun. A couple of weeks after that, I am headed down to Philadelphia. Going to meet up with the EOP guys on the Friday night, get together, put faces to names, names to faces, and have a whole bunch of fun. As well as then, of course, the Win or Lose, We Drink the Booze tournament, the Fan Cup in Philadelphia. It's actually in New Jersey. We will be staying in Cherry Hill, for those of you wondering. It's apparently not far from there where we're playing. All day Saturday is a lacrosse-a-thon, and followed by the banquet and, the icing thereof. And a long drive home with iced knees. The Gales Picnic in the Park is coming up on the 27th of July. Join them at the Tyrone Community Center, which is 2716 Concession Road, which is in Clarington. Painting, Mike's favorite, jumping castles, treats, and so much more. 1 till 4, going to see all kinds of alumni, have a great barbecue, all kinds of fun. And you can discuss stuff with the Gales. Maybe even talk about the Prague trip that's coming up. Some new faces coming in there, some great people coming on along it. It's going to be a fantastic trip next year to Prague, too. Remember, Lacrossing Barriers, that camp is starting up in a week, July 2nd to 5th, August 6th to 9th, and August 26th to 30th. All Abilities and All Possibilities day camps designed to allow anyone who chooses to learn, laugh, and play. They guide everyone who comes to participate in the way they need. Ages 5 and up, 9 till 3. Options for drop-off early and late pickup. Just email Scott at lacrossingbarriers.org. Get all the... Am I back? I'm back.
You are back.
I hope so. I'm just hoping that my computer will actually work with me. Because, in the last few weeks, it's been working thoroughly against me. And, I can push enter like everybody, but IT, that just means it. Like I've had it. I don't know. It's been doing some weird stuff. So if it does some weird stuff tonight, I apologize, and I will try and fix it as quickly as humanly possible. But, I'm at the mercy of Rogers. They own everything. They're kind of like Comcast of the U.S. Everything. I don't know. They're probably monitoring it. Anyways, one quick signing from the NLL. Dawson Theed has signed for 3 years with Halifax. That's a big signing.
Yeah,
big guy. I think he's an integral piece to their puzzle. I got a feeling that there's going to be a number of moves and shakeups because it just hasn't worked in the design plan that they've had. But, again, Ryan Benesh is on the fountain of youth, but there's only so many years that fountain of youth is going to be around. So they have to start looking. And I think that's a great center point if they can have him, as well as a couple of other pieces. Austin Shanks is another one that comes to mind. Of course, Clark Peterson comes to mind, let alone Tyson Bell and a few others on defense with, Warren Hill in that. And we'll talk about some stuff that Warren did this week because he made history also this week. The Rock made a trade. The Oakville Rock made a trade yesterday, and it paid dividends today, actually. Oakville received Tyler Hendricks and Latrell Harris. Latrell Harris is still in rehab, but he should be back just in time for playoffs. So if he's not obviously not doing PLL, so he'll be available for MSL. Coburg received Nathan Grennan and a conditional 2025 second-round pick. Now, here's the interesting thing: is today Grennan had 3 goals and 3 assists against his former foe, so he paid dividends immediately in Coburg's big win over the Oakville Rock at the Meat Locker over in Coburg. Now, scary stuff happened earlier this week. All my years of doing this, I have seen all kinds of injuries. I have seen all kinds of events. I've seen all kinds of different things. I have never seen a game canceled due to injury. Due to a serious injury, tonight's game, this was Monday, against Six Nations, been postponed, and we replayed at a later date. What happened was Callum Jones and another Brock player ran into each other. He went down hard and was not moving. And 911 was called. Then nobody wanted to take any chances, as they shouldn't, with those kind of injuries. And they canceled the game as they waited for staff to arrive. Tuesday's update was early in Monday's game against Six Nations. Callum Jones was injured and taken to hospital. Callum is at home recovering. Before provide any further updates when available. Tip of the cap to the Rock medical team, including Tyler Quinnell and Emily Kenyon, as well as local paramedics for their swift action. The game would be rescheduled at a later date. It's great news to see that he is recovering, and it looks like it was just a stinger, but that's very scary. There were 2 reports that came out of there. One is he went head first in the boards. Other was he ran into somebody. From all accounts that I've heard is he ran into another player from the Rock. And when you're not expecting it, that's like running into a wall. Maybe even faster, because that player's coming at you as quickly as you're going at them. And anybody remember grade 9 physics? That doesn't work very well. And he's not a big guy. I believe he's about 5'8", 5'9", 165. So if he ran into a guy who's 6'2", 200, you see where it's going. So really great news that he's recovering. Hopefully he makes a full recovery. He's got a budding NLL career as well as MSL, let alone a career in everyday life as well, which is the most important of everything. And hope that everything is A-OK. And he takes the time that he needs to heal correctly. Don't be feeling any pressure to come back anywhere before your time. Simple. It is still Indigenous Month. So, of course, I have my Rock Indigenous shirt on. A few more days. Every day this month, I've been putting up reports and little clips and videos trying to bridge the gap of understanding between Native and non-Native and things that relate from the Native life into the game of lacrosse. Please give it a look. It is on our Facebook page as well as a number of the lacrosse groups. So please give it a look. It's only a couple of minutes long, usually. Very much worth the watch and the read. And you'll learn a lot. I learned a ton putting them together. So please, we got another week to go. I have another 7 ready to go for these 7 days. So please, it is worthwhile and a long time in coming to make sure that we have that understanding. That's the first real sign of healing. So, alrighty. So we have this little mess there in OJLL, and it goes in a couple of folds though. See, number one, the decision by OJLA and OJLL to strip a couple of games away because of ineligible players for the Toronto Beaches. Their perfect record went from 8-0 to 4-4. But following the decision and the agreement from all parties involved, the upcoming showcase game between the Beaches and Orangeville, set for June 29th at the Howard Darwin Arena, has been relocated to their home venue of the Ted Reeve Arena. So Nepean gets the shaft again. And it's a shame. So hopefully they can figure all this stuff out. And, I'm sure it's about something, not a T not being crossed and an I not being dotted, which started all this. And that's a shame.
Yeah, guess I don't understand why. It seems like there's two separate issues here. You have the beaches supposedly using, ineligible players, but what does that have to do with moving the venue of a
I haven't figured that one out
lacrosse
either, other
game
than there's
out of
sour
somewhere?
grapes.
Yeah.
I just
So
it just doesn't work. Um, just to get a little more basis on this one. The Ontario Junior Lacrosse League and the Ontario Lacrosse Association have completed a review of player transactions and movement of each team within the league. It was determined that the Toronto Beaches Junior A Lacrosse Club exceeded the maximum number of direct releases permitted under OLA Regulation 6.35A. Additionally, the club allowed the participation of a player who was not properly rostered to an OLA team prior to the season. Players involved are not responsible for these violations, and their eligibility has been properly reclassified according to their status. Furthermore, we're working with the Toronto Beaches Junior A Lacrosse Club to assist in their understanding of the regulations of player movement to prevent further instances of ineligibility. As a result of these violations, the first 8 games of the 2024 season played by the Toronto Beaches will be reclassified as forfeits in the league standings. Consequently, the points from these games will be awarded to each opponent. The score for all games involving ineligible players will be recorded as 0 for Toronto Beaches, and the score for the opposing team shall be attained during each respective game. Toronto Beaches Junior A Lacrosse Club has the right to submit a request for appeal of this decision to the OLA as outlined in the OLA's appeal process. Further updates will be provided as necessary. Following this decision, with an agreement from all parties involved, the upcoming showcase between the Toronto Beaches and Orangeville, set for June 29th, has been relocated. We recognize that this situation is unfortunate for all parties involved, including the league, the Toronto Beaches, and the players. We regret the necessity of these actions, but remain committed to ensuring a fair and competitive environment for Junior A in Toronto. In Ontario. Just to look at the new standings. If I can get this shared. There you go. So Orangeville now is in the top with an 11-2 record. Brampton sits at 8-5. Mimico at 8-4. Burlington 7-6. Whitby 7-7. St. Catharines 7-7. Peterborough is sitting over at 6-6. Six Nations 6-9. Toronto Beaches 6 wins, 8 losses. Oakville Buzz 4 wins, 9 losses. Kitchener Waterloo 3 wins, 10 losses. So a whole upheaval of the standings.
now they were, at the time of the decision, they were 12-0, and
Right.
that 12-0 turned into 4-8.
4-8.
Correct.
So now they are 6-8. So they're still winning. So you watch, they're still going to wind up on the top or close to it. Just without that perfect record, whatever that means. Anyways, before we go any further and dig into the week that was, other than that in Junior A, just a reminder: this part of the show is brought to you by Sherry's Tickets.
Great moments don't just happen, they happen with you in the crowd. Sherry'sTickets.com is easy to use and has no hidden fees. The price you see is the price you pay. Pay less, play more with Sherry'sTickets.com and get the tickets you want. Save even more by using the exclusive promo code EOP10 and share an experience that will live on. Don't pay hidden fees and save 10%. Why use any other ticket reseller and get those hard to come by tickets to the big game? If you need a more personal touch, give them a call at 610-494-5050. Sherry'sTickets.com also has great theater and concert tickets that are hard to get your hands on. Remember, don't overpay with the rest and save with the best at Sherry'sTickets.com. For that next great moment, save 10% by using the promo code EOP10. Great moments start at Sherry'sTickets.com.
Yes, they do. All right, just an update on the week that was. St. Catharines seems to have a little bit of revival since they got their points from that little switcheroo. They beat Oakville 7-5 on Monday. Burlington beat Peterborough 12-7. Tuesday, we had the Beaches beat Kitchener 13-7. Six Nations dropped a 12-11 decision to Whitby. Big time game, that. Mimico and Oakville played a slobber knocker on Wednesday. Oakville came up on top 8-7. Burlington and Orangeville played each other on Wednesday as well. Orangeville came out on top 12-8. St. Catharines with another win, beating Peterborough 8-6. Remember, they couldn't get a win. All of a sudden, they can't be stopped. Interesting. The Beaches beat Whitby 14-11 on Thursday. Into Friday we go. And Mimico and Six Nations. Mimico wound up winning 11-9, but this thing was marred by this massive brawl at the end of the game, which just took all the interest away from the game. It was a free-for-all, so to speak. But, hey, this will happen. I have seen some crazy stuff over at the Mimico Arena. And just another one. Kitchener and Orangeville played each other on Friday as well. Orangeville came out on top 14-8. The Beaches again beat Whitby 9-7. Burlington slid by Brampton 11-10. Peterborough beat the Oakville Buzz 8-6. St. Catharines with yet another win on Saturday over Kitchener 10-8. Brampton beat on Oakville 15-3. Six Nations beat Whitby 9-7. And Orangeville today took care of Burlington 11-6. And that was the week that was. Some strange goings on. Like I say, St. Catharines couldn't buy a win. Now they can't be stopped. The middle teams, though, is what's really surprising. You know, Burlington, I expected a lot more. They didn't lose that many guys. And, they're sitting at just above 500, 7-6-1 right now. So.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, I suppose it's a good thing for St. Catharines, considering, we were talking about just a few weeks ago, how potentially unfair it would be for them to have a spot in the Minto Cup if they were, a 3-15 team or something,
right?
Like that, just because they're the host, the host city. So,
but say Mimico and Six Nations, a lot of bad blood there. That's almost like the Mimico Brampton years from around 2016, 2017, 2018 era, where they just, not just the players, the fans, everything was upside down. It was wild going to these arenas and watching these games with some of these crazy, crazy fights that went on in and out of the arena. Just nuts. But that was the week that was in junior. Moving to Ontario Series, and again, another busy week with 5 games going on. And just pulling her up here. We can start with Saturday, which we saw. We went too far. There we are. Ennismore is winless no more, Mike. They had a tie last week, 7-7, but they played a hell of a game against Owen Sound yesterday that went into overtime. This game was back and forth all night long. 5-5 after 1, 8-7 for Owen Sound after 2, tied at 9 after 3, and 2-1 in the overtime with just seconds left. I think 42 seconds left in overtime, and Tommy Collins put in the winner for Ennismore for their first win of the year. Just an absolute great thing. Team deserve it. They've worked so hard and have gone up against so many different factors, and it's great to see it. Clearview didn't fare so well against Six Nations. They did play a fantastic first period. In fact, It was tooth and nail back and forth. It was 5-3 for Six Nations after the first. Unfortunately, that's where it stopped. Six Nations came out on fire in the second and never looked back. I believe Clearview got the first goal in that second period, and then it all went Six Nations' way. I think 5 in a row for Six Nations before Clearview got another one, and then Six Nations answered. The third period wasn't much better. I believe it was 7-1 for Six Nations in the third. Final score was 19-6. West Whitlow had a sock trick in this game. Caden Brennan also had a big game. Zach Harrowires had a terrific game as well. So big time game from Six Nations, making their stamp to stay neck and neck with Brooklyn, if you will, who had a heck of a time with Hamilton Saturday night. And, if it wasn't for Devin Pfeiffer scoring with 32 seconds left, who knows what would have happened. But 32 seconds left was the winning goal for Brooklyn. Ridiculous. I would have expected this one to be a blowout because Brooklyn has played so well all year, and Hamilton is just an up-and-coming team. And they played their hearts out and actually had the lead with about 4 minutes to go. Then Eddie Renault tied it up, and Devin Pfeiffer won it with 32 seconds left. So these games are well worth your time and your money to go see live. They are exciting. They are mostly down to the wire. Every now and again you'll get a blowout, yes. But most of these are really, really fantastic games. Today we had the rematch with Ennismore and Owen Sound. And, Owen Sound got their retribution. Really close game again through the first two periods. It was 5-4 for Owen Sound after two. But it looked like Ennismore just ran out of gas in the third. Owen Sound outscored them 4-1. Brody Cascanet was the big star there. Him and his brother Jordan had big days. Jordy McMillan also. Tommy Collins had a good day with a couple of goals for Ennismore, but unfortunately there weren't many others that were having a good day for Ennismore to try and get that scoring back up. A big one tonight is Six Nations and Brooklyn are facing each other. It's still in progress, but Six Nations is just riding a wave. It is 11-6 for Six Nations right now with about 5 minutes left in the third. So right now you're talking about an 11-1 team versus a 10-1 team. So a slobber knocker it is.
Yep.
But it certainly looks like Six Nations is firing on all cylinders. So if I'm looking at the standings, and again, I can pull these things up for you. Unless something really crazy happens, it's going to be Six Nations that is 12-1, Brooklyn that is 10-2, Hamilton 5-5, Owen Sound 3-8, Clearview 3-7, all with a tie there, and Ennismore 1-11-1. They are all the columns are filled there, so that's a victory for them as well, and more to come. I think they are just an up and coming team. I really do like the makeup of that team, and I like the attitude of that team because nothing seems to faze them. Everything is a learning experience.
Yeah, and is that league what top four make playoffs or?
Yes. Okay. Yes. So we'll see what happens, but it certainly looks like it's in stone. But why don't we take a break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at major series in Western Lacrosse Association. This part of the show is brought to you by Philly Sports Trips.
If you're a Philly sports fan and you want to travel with your favorite team, then travel with the best. If you want to travel with the pros, then go to phillysportstrips.com. Philly Sports Trips features premium travel and tailgating experiences for the best fans, the Philadelphia sports fan. Philly Sports Trips has self-travel packages and full travel packages available with round-trip flights for Phillies, Eagles, Flyers, Sixers, and even the Union. They even offer day trips for more local games. Go to phillysportstrips.com, sign up immediately, and tell them EOP sent you. Do not forget, Philly Sports Trips has all the away trips for the Eagles' upcoming 2024 season, including the Brazil trip week 1. Jump on it now before you lose out on all these great opportunities. Go to phillysportstrips.com and don't miss the next great Philly sports moment.
Absolutely, and some great trips upcoming, especially upcoming in the fall. But you have Phillies trips, Union trips, and then, of course, get in early for the Eagles trips because they're just going to sell out in a hurry if they're not already sold. So get on the website and give it a look, or give them a phone call and have a gander, because there's some great things there, and the prices are excellent. And what a way to meet up and get to know people with the same interests as yourself. That being said, Mike, why don't we get over to the Western Lacrosse Association? Lots of things going on there, as you notice in my background. My Shamrocks jersey is alive and well. Things are still rosy around here. And let's see how long we can ride this wave, because I know the bird will fall from the sky at some point. But, right now,
maybe not.
we're not going to Irish, we'll just keep enjoying.
Yeah, so we'll start with last Sunday night. As we were getting off the air, Langley was in the lead against Maple Ridge. They did end up winning that game, 18-11. Big day for the Scanlons.
Chase Scanlon, doesn't matter which one.
Yeah, they were first, second, and third stars of the game, combining for 31 total points. Chase Scanlon had 4 goals, 8 assists. Clay Scanlon had 5 and 5, and Charles Scanlon had 5 and 4. Some pretty impressive efficiency on the part of the Thunder. 18 goals on 47 shots.
That's impressive.
So, and Aiden Walsh, I know we talked about him and the possibility that, his confidence could be suffering with a team that's middling. Made 39 saves in the win, so the reps are definitely helping there. For Maple Ridge, stars Ryan Jones, 5 goals, 3 assists. Marcus Claridge, 2 and 2. Reese Porteous and Dylan McIntosh both had a goal and 2 assists. Nate Facken and Brandon Humphrey combined for 29 saves in the losing effort. So, Langley then followed up on Wednesday with their second straight win over New Westminster.
What's wrong with the salmon belly?
No, that's an old.
Yeah, I just thought I'd bring back a retro.
That's an old relic.
Still, beating New West is a big feather in their cap.
It definitely is, and obviously it serves only to help Victoria widen their their lead as they remain undefeated. So, low scoring affair, 8-5. Charles Scanlon continuing his good play for the Thunder. He had 4 goals and 2 assists. Robert Church, a goal and 4 assists. Nathaniel Kozevnikov, 2 and 0. Aiden Walsh, again, another standout game, 43 saves and only 5 goals allowed. For New West, Will Malcolm, 2 and 2. Jake Govett, 1 and 3. Logan Schuss, 1 and 2. Neil Tyak, 43 saves in net in the loss. So that's New West's second loss, I believe.
Right. That gave him, the Timbermen a tough assignment.
Yeah. So New West came home to Queens Park Arena the next night for the first of 2 against Nanaimo this week. They triumphed 13-9. Will Malcolm had a goal and 6 assists on the night. Drew Belgrave, a pair of goals. Logan Schuss, 1 and 2. Justin Getty got the start in net for the Salmon Bellies, 25 saves in the win. For Nanaimo, Zach Mans, 3 goals, 2 assists. Colton Lidstone, 2 and 2. John Phillips, goal and 3 assists. Taggart Clark, 3 assists. Devlin Shanahan, 33 saves in the losing effort. Moving on to Friday, your beloved Shamrocks
Absolutely.
were in the swamp to take on Burnaby. They come out with a 9-5 victory. Pulled away in the third. Really, that was the difference. It was actually 6-5 Shamrocks after 2. And Chris Origlieri shut the door on the Burnaby Lakers in the third period. He made 38 saves overall in the game. Liam Phillips had a pair of goals. Patrick Dodds had 3 assists. Casey Wilson was making his season debut, had 2 goals and an assist. And then making their debuts, period, for the Shamrocks, Clark Peterson and Adam J. Both had a goal and an assist on the night. So nothing
Just
like
gets richer and richer in
really adding a little more firepower to what the best team out west right now. The usual suspects for Burnaby. You had Jacob Dunbar, a goal and 3 assists. Ben Stewart, 1 and 1. Thomas Vella, 1 and 1. Ben McDonald, 1 and 2. And Keegan Milenichuk, 47 saves. So he faced a lot of rubber in the losing effort. So, but it's nice to see. It's nice to see that Burnaby squad have a little firepower of their own. And those guys, they're coming through. They I know 1 goal each doesn't sound so great in a 9-5 loss, but they are, they are putting up points. They're not having games where they're just invisible.
Well, they're working hard, and that's a hell of a Shamrocks team. So, it's like in the MSL of somebody going against Six Nations, when you're going against an all-star NLL team, it's a difficult task if you are not of equal caliber and up-and-comers. So this is putting stripes on their shoulders.
Yeah. It's definitely a good core to work around. So a lot of San Diego Seals too on that team. So both teams really.
And the Seals are probably looking at rebuilding. So that's probably really good news for a lot of San Diego folk.
Yeah.
That this is going on, and they're getting their
their young talent is getting good reps. In
any reps right now are great.
Yeah,
especially
and that includes Jake Govett over in the West too. So
yeah.
Moving to yesterday, Maple Ridge bouncing back from their loss to Langley with an 11-6 win over Coquitlam. Brandon Humphrey, 32 saves in the win. Dylan McIntosh had 2 and 3. Ryan Jones and Reese Porteous both had 2 and 1. Marcus Clarich, a goal and 2 assists. For Coquitlam, Adam Noakes had a hat trick and 2 assists. Tyler Kirkby, 3 assists. Matt Delmonico, a pair of assists. And Andrew Gallant, 30 saves in the loss. But Coquitlam falls, I believe, to 500 now. So
right.
And we've got 2 games this evening.
One's just started, and that's Victoria and Maple Ridge. 0-0, 5 minutes in.
Yep, and then
I haven't started yet with.
New West at Nanaimo. So second game this week. So there is possibility that if Nanaimo bounces back, and Victoria wins tonight, we could be looking at a 3-game gap just from first to second place. Victoria's 7-0 right now, could be 8-0 after tonight. New West, there you go. New West 5-2, but they're if Nanaimo bounces back tonight and Victoria wins, now you're talking about a 3-game gap. And I don't believe, if I recall correctly, I don't believe Victoria and New West have played each other yet. So that's That's you can look at that two ways. You can look at that as, even if there's a 3-game gap, New West can make that up just by sweeping season series with Victoria.
Absolutely.
But conversely, Victoria can make it look like the Grand Canyon, by sweeping New West. So
it's going to be interesting. This is a big pivotal game now.
Yeah, and as you can see there, everyone else is right now is under 500, so that's a little bit concerning. And I know that'll kind of even out as the season goes on. But next week we got kind of a light week. There's only 4 games on the schedule. Yep, up there. So you've got Maple Ridge, Echo Quitlam. And then Wednesday, you've got Nanaimo at Langley. Thursday, Victoria at New West. So there's the first matchup of the season. And then Langley again at Burnaby on Friday. So, and then at that point, that's the halfway point of the season after that week is complete.
Right.
So we'll have 32 of 63 games played. And, there's, I think there's a good fight. After New West, there's a good fight between 4 teams potentially for 2 spots in the playoffs. So that'll be interesting to see.
Excellent. It's going to be really interesting to watch. And remember, if you're interested in watching the games, they are late. But if you go on the WLA website, you can pay-per-view on them and purchase packages or purchase single games and watch these games live from your home if you're not out in BC, where you should be hopping in a SkyTrain and getting your butt to the games. Anyways, just before we move along, just a reminder this part of the show is brought to you by Dolan's Bar.
When you're staying local and you want to watch a great game or just hang out with some great people, go to Dolan's Bar at 24 East Sellers Ave in Ridley Park, right off I-95 south of the Philadelphia airport. For over 65 years, Dolan's has thrived because of one reason: the amazing people of Philadelphia. Great music, great times, memorabilia, giveaways, great drinks, and great food. You never know when a former Philly sports icon walks through that door. You go to Dolan's at 24 East Sellers Ave, Ridley Park in the 19078. Tell PJ that EOP sent you. Go to dolansbar.com or follow them on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok.
Absolutely. Sumi Dog is there in the glasses, Mike. So this is prior.
Disguise.
Anyways, let's get ourselves on over to MSL. And like as we brought up earlier, a very bizarre week in MSL. It was supposed to be a 3-game week for Six Nations, which is odd. Usually 2 is the max that they're playing. Most of the time it's just 1, but they had 3 games scheduled. And unfortunately with this injury, of course, that Monday game is listed in the standings as a tie. It is not a tie. So disregard that tie by Six Nations in Oakville. It is to be rescheduled at a later date to be determined. So obviously it's not going to be too far down the road because before you know it, we'll be in playoffs. But it's coming. Anyways, let's move on a little further. Tuesday, a little bit more strange, is that Brampton went over to Six Nations to play the Chiefs. Now, you have a Chiefs lineup that, of course, is an all-star lineup. And you have a Brampton squad that is up and coming and has had its, bumps in the road, but has, had its way and had some good experiences as well. Well, this game was they lost 8-0. First time I've seen a shutout in MSL and Senior A ever. I'm sure over the 100 years that it's been, there's somewhere down the road that there was another one. But as far as I can remember, and as far as anybody I've talked to can remember, there hasn't been a shutout in Major Series Lacrosse. So this is quite the to-do for Warren Hill. That's not to say that Will Johnson didn't have an extremely good evening, because it could have easily been 20-0. But he made some absolutely spectacular saves. And if there's such a thing as losing 8-0 and having your stock go up, this is that game. Now, right off the bat, Brad Creed was the one who got the first goal. He had the game-winning goal. So, right away, things are kind of strange. Eli McLaughlin, according to the stat sheet, Eli McLaughlin had 1 goal in the first. Then Dane Smith and Kellen LeClaire had a couple in the second. I was there. Eli McLaughlin had those 2 goals. So I don't know who was doing the stat sheet. But in my eyes, and same thing with the Six Nation Chiefs eyes, Eli McLaughlin had a hat trick in this game. So we'll go with that. Austin Stotts, he had a beautiful goal in there. But Shane Jackson, Lyle Thompson, and Travis Longboat rounded out the scoring in this game. And 8-0 was your final. Obviously, Six Nations took their foot off the gas and played defense in those last probably 25 minutes or so of the game. Because they scored 5 in the second, easily could have been 10. They could have gotten a whole whack of them in the third and pulled back and worked on their defense to make sure that's up to snuff. So use that as a training experience as well. And they looked very, very strong. They looked very good. But 8-0 was your final. Warren Hill with the shutout. We moved to Wednesday, and Coburg, who's been struggling, visited the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club over at the Iroquois Sports Complex in Whitby. And a pretty good showing. Brooklyn wound up winning 8-5. But Coburg, though they didn't get a lot of scoring, they did play very, very strong defense, shutting down a very strong Brooklyn squad. So they could build from this. They were maybe a player away, maybe a Nathan Brennan away from doing some big. Never mind. We'll get to that one. Little tease for y'all. But Kyle Waters had a big night for the Brooklyn squad with a couple of goals. Ryan Wagner looked great with a couple of goals. Brady Kiernan, Tanner Cook, Graydon Hogg, Jacob Hickey also had goals along the way. Big game. And Brooklyn just showed why they are sitting along with Six Nations. They just are resilient. Even when they don't seem to be on 100%, they're on. So that was Wednesday. Thursday, we had a couple of games. Very, very strong games going on here. And Oakville and Peterborough. And this one, if you remember correctly, when they played in Oakville a couple of weeks back, Peterborough had the game in hand. Oakville came up with a big third, came from behind and beat them by 3. Peterborough remember that too. And taking a look at this game, starting out in this game, Oakville opened up the scoring with Andrew Q. Matt Gilray tied the game up in transition. Thomas Hogarth gave
Well, hopefully Gary's coming back soon.
Am I back?
You are back. I was trying to navigate to major series myself to keep the.
Well, like I was trying to say, Thomas Hogarth had a big night in this one, and we'll get further into that. I believe he had 5 goals by the time this was all said and done. Hang out with me. Rogers is having fun with me today. Why not? Anything to do with the computer, it's like us and them. Anyways, moving into the second period, Grennan got one back for the Rock to tie it up. Hogarth with yet another one, followed by Resetaritz. And then the Rock got onto a run. Andrew Q with a power play goal, Sam English with a short-handed goal, Grennan with yet another goal, and Andrew Q. And this game took on a different form. So after 2 periods, it was now 7-5 for Oakville. Hold on to your horses, folks. Owen Hiltz brought it in a little bit closer, but Ryan Lansbury gave them the 2-goal lead again. Hogarth with a pair of goals late in the third period, and we are going to overtime. In overtime, this was back and forth, up and down, all around. But Sam English with an unassisted goal with 3:56 remaining in the overtime period. And Oakville slides away with a 9-8 victory. And I mean slides away. Doug Buckham had a great game. Nick Rose looked good in it also. Peterborough had 66 shots in this game. So Rose made 58 saves. Yeah, I can see why everybody doesn't like him. Buckham, I'm hearing about, we should have had so-and-so, we should have had kills in the net. He made 46 saves in this game. He was not the reason why Peterborough lost. Like I said,
and that's if I'm not mistaken, that's a sweep of Peterborough by Oakville,
it is
right?
It is. They won
Each
both.
team's only playing twice.
Mm-hmm. And no fault of Thomas Hogarth. He had 5 goals in this game. Rob Hellier had 4 assists in this game. Rosateras with a goal. Owen Hiltz with a goal. Matt Gilray with a goal. The Catoni brothers, a couple of assists between them. That was it. For Oakville, Ryan Lansbury with a goal and an assist. Sam English had 2 goals. Nathan Grennan, 2 goals and 2 assists in the winning cause for Oakville. It's a theme here, Andrew Q with 3 goals, 2 assists in this one as well. So, of course, when you have a guy that's doing as well as Grennan, I understand you want to get the Toronto Rock back and the band back together. So Hendricks and, of course, Lachelle Harris. But, man, when you're giving away a guy who's on fire, that one hurts. Six Nations and Brampton played the second of 2 games. And, it didn't go much better for Brampton. But again, you have a very young team going in against an all-star lineup. It was 8-0 for Six Nations after the first period. You see a theme here, do we? It was a 12-2 final. With about 14 minutes into the second period, Brampton finally got the monkey off their back, and J.P. Ward scored. It was starting to look as though this was going to be a 2-game shutout, because the defense on Six Nations was just fantastic. Austin Stotts even scored on a penalty shot, just to make things even more fun. We go into the third period, and again, Six Nations is just playing around a little bit. Lyle Thompson had a shorthanded goal. Zach Sunderland got another goal for Brampton, but that was it. 12-2 was your final. Six Nations looks strong. So I don't know. After tonight's game, I don't know if there's anybody that can unseat them. I thought maybe, but I can't see it. But anyways, moving forward into Saturday game, Owen Sound and Peterborough played each other. And, of course, Peterborough reeling from the 9-8 overtime loss to Oakville took it out on Owen Sound. They got rolling early with Turner Evans and Holden Contoni. However, the MO of Owen Sound is they have a very strong first period. And it happened again here. Jackson Reed, Tyler Brown, and Elijah Brown, Greg Elijah Brown, all had goals to put Owen Sound in the lead. Turner Evans scored with 6 seconds left in the first and was 3-3 after 1. Second period, a little bit of a different story. This was more of a score fest, much more wide open period. Hellier, Hazen, and Hutchison opened the scoring in the first 3 minutes for Peterborough. Owen Sound answered back. Bloombergs and Gustafson got goals. Now, here's where it got strange. Mitch Gustafson took a 5-minute high-sticking penalty. And in that power play, Rob Hellier, Thomas Hogarth both scored. Contoni got one, Tate Contoni. Just after that, again, Gustafson's still in the box, but they have their fifth man back on after the 2 goals scored. Owen Sound answers back. Jake Cates gets a power play goal, followed by Brendan Campbell. But Hellier, take it, Tony, answered back again. Tyler Brown scored one more for Owen Sound with 1:33. And at this stage, it was 11-8 for Peterborough heading into the third quarter, third period. And it was all Peterborough at this stage. Austin Hazen opens up the scoring 10 minutes in. Hogarth gets one a couple of minutes after that. Mitch Ogilvie in transition on a pass from Thomas Hogarth. And then Austin Hazen with 4 minutes to go. And this game finishes 15-8 for Peterborough. In net, Landon Kells. So everybody in Peterborough, relax. They're going back and forth. But again, Peterborough looking a lot more Peterborough-esque in this game. So we move to this evening. Now, here's the big one. Oakville went into the meat locker over in Coburg, and fresh off this trade that happened yesterday. And Coburg beats them 12-8. I'll go one further. Coburg was never trailing in this game. Now, that's not to say this wasn't a close game through most of it, but Coburg got the first goal about just 2 minutes into the game. Jackson Nishimura. Corey Highfield tied it up. Nishimura with a second goal, and then Marley Angus tied it up. David Anderson scored with Tyler Hendricks getting a power play goal with less than a minute to go. But with 38 seconds left in the first, David Anderson scored again, and it was 4-3 for Coburg after one. Braden Saris got a goal early in the second for Coburg on the power play. Tyler Hendricks got his second of the night. Then Nathan Grennan started taking over. He got an unassisted goal at just under 5 minutes into the second. David Anderson with yet another. Andrew Q answered back for Oakville with Ty English, and we still had a very close game, being at 7-6 after 2. Enter the third period. Grennan scores a shorthanded goal followed by a power play goal. Is he making his mark yet? Right. Lansbury gets a shorthanded goal for Oakville, but Zach Thompson scores on that on a power play for Coburg. Braden Saris scores again. Ryan Lansbury again with another goal for Oakville. David Anderson ends this game with one more, and it is 12-8 your final. Coburg stuns the Oakville Rock to give Oakville their first loss of the year. Crazy stuff, eh?
I'll say.
So upcoming this week, we got another big week coming. We start off tomorrow night, and Coburg and Oakville are playing the rubber match in track. So head on over to Oakville, 8 o'clock tomorrow night, Eastern, and catch a really good game. Tuesday, Owen Sound and Peterborough are playing in Peterborough for an odd Thursday night game or Tuesday night game there. Brooklyn is heading to Six Nations. This is the game that I have circled.
Big one.
This is the one I want to see. This is really the litmus test for Brooklyn. Thursday night, Coburg and Brampton play each other. If I have it correct, I will be in Brampton for this game. Six Nations and Peterborough play. Another big game for Six Nations. Another big game for Peterborough. I would like to be there, but I don't think I can make it to Peterborough that night. Saturday, Six Nations plays Owen Sound in a 6 o'clock game in Owen Sound. And that's it for the week that was in MSL. Big time stuff, guys. Big time stuff.
Yeah.
Huge ramifications in this week. Rogers is having fun with me, Eduardo. I don't know. They pick inopportune times But really, every time's inopportune, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Anyways, before we head off to our last topic of the evening, we're going to head to tell you this part of the show is brought to you by Cherry Injury.
If you get hurt at work, in a motor vehicle accident, personal injury, or affected by criminal law, you call David R. Cherry of the Cherry Firm. Cherry Law Firm is here to fight for you and get what you deserve. Cherry Injury Law is a dedicated, well-established personal injury law firm built on the promise of aiding the seriously injured throughout the state of Pennsylvania. If you have been seriously injured in the state of PA by the negligence of another, and if you have questions for a Westchester or media personal injury attorney, please don't hesitate to call. Call 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Let David R. Cherry fight for your right. And again, that number is 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com.
Absolutely. Just before we head on to the PLL, I just want to bring up the standings for MSL, and that is that Brooklyn is sitting in first place at the moment with 6 wins, 12 points. Six Nations, of course, undefeated at 5-0. Nice to see they've changed the score sheet and taken the ties away. Oakville at 4-1 now. Peterborough is sitting at 3-3. Coburg at 2-4. Brampton at 1-6, and Owen Sound 0-6. But fighting hard. So it'd be interesting to take a look at the differences next week.
And that's also top 4 make the playoffs.
Yep. That's right. All righty. PLL had the week off this week. It's a rough summer. I need to rest a little bit. Nothing like having a bye week in a 12-game season. Next week, it is in Minneapolis, Minnesota. If you happen to be anywhere in that vicinity, get your tickets. Go onto the PLL website, click on tickets, and pick them up because they are well worth your money, well worth your time, and you can catch 4 really great games. And everybody's playing because it's not a home game this weekend. So we have nobody sitting out. Now, my Atlas are playing Maryland Friday night at 7. And that's a big one. 4-0 Atlas against a 1-2 Maryland Whip Snakes. And this is big, man, because Maryland cannot go down 1 win, 3 losses. Damn near 0-4 then, because by the skin of their teeth last week.
Right.
What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I hate to say it's desperation already, but
We're almost halfway in, right?
We're
All-Star
getting
break
to that
is coming
point.
up.
This will be week. This will technically be week 4, and they'll play week 5 in Boston, and then they're at the All-Star break. So it's as much as it doesn't feel like it's crunch time, it's kind of crunch time already.
Yeah, there really aren't a whole
Some-
lot of
some
weeks for
weeks.
error, is there?
There isn't. I mean, again, the only saving grace here is that, as long as you're not in last place, you're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah. No, I get that.
And
I get that.
these aren't going to be, multi-game series, so anything can happen.
Right.
With the one game.
Now we have Boston at Utah for the late game on Friday, and this is circled on my calendar. Both
Yeah,
teams
this is
are
a big
2-1.
one too. I mean, this is basically to keep pace with Atlas in that Eastern. For Boston anyway, to keep pace with Atlas in that Eastern Conference, and Utah obviously with the win can kind of start to get maybe a little bit of a stranglehold on the Western side.
Right. Now we move over to Saturday. California is 0-2, and they're fighting Denver, who's 1-1. And the Redwoods, I'm really not sure where they're at, and they really haven't impressed me with what I've seen in both games so far. But that's not to say that they can't turn this around real fast.
Yeah, I think they can. I mean, I still have questions. I still have questions really about that defense, more so than the offense. With the offense, it seems to be more a matter of inconsistency
Right.
on the part of some players. Guy has a good game, and then just the next week they're non-existent. They're off the score sheet. I'd like to see just a little bit more consistency out of Ryder Garnsey, Westberg. Obviously they have some new pieces that they've got to fit in, like Garrett Degnan. Hopefully he can kind of start to ramp up.
Right. Sure.
And put up numbers, like other rookies are doing, like Brennan O'Neill, Connor Schellenberger. So, and then I think Redwoods can be a little bit more of a force, but I still have concerns about just the number of guys they lost on the defensive side and how that defense is shaping up as a result.
Yeah. Alrighty, and then we have our last game, which again is another pivotal game. Philly 0-3. Carolina 2-2. Really a must win for Philadelphia.
Yeah, they cannot afford to
Cannot lose this game.
Fall to 0-4.
So
it's
tall work too.
Yeah, it's really as simple as that. Again, I think the only thing that's kind of working, if you could say it's working in their favor, is their goal differential is pretty much as low as it can be.
Yeah, it's -3.
Given their record. Yeah, it's 3 1-goal games that they've lost. So
2 of which in overtime. So they're not as bad.
Yeah. So I mean, your goal differential can't be any better than that, given your record.
Does that mean you can be the best team ever to not make the playoffs? We're in that realm right now.
They could be, but I guess I'm trying to be optimistic here.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't played Redwoods yet. Redwoods are also winless. The goal differential, I believe, takes precedence over the head-to-head, if I'm not mistaken. And I can't recall if they play Redwoods once or twice this year. I want to say I think they only play them once. And I'm not sure when that game is offhand. So if the Redwoods are struggling just as much, it could come down to that game. And even if the Redwoods, do win somewhere down the line, let's say they both end up 1-9, you could be getting in just on goal differential.
Right.
So
interesting stuff. So there's all kinds of pivotal stuff. This is going to be definitely a weekend to take a look at and see exactly what's going to go on. Well, it's going to be an uphill climb, that's for sure. But
I mean, they got to play a 10-game schedule just like everyone else. So I mean, all it takes is maybe a couple of wins, and if Redwoods aren't winning, I think I have a hard time saying that that they're cooked if there's another team in the league that's still winless as well.
Right. But it's close. It's close. It's as close as it's going to get.
Yeah.
They really are on a must win. So, well, we'll leave it at that. And again, stick with us and we will have everything for you up to date. Just a reminder that we are on Facebook, we are on Twitter, we are on Instagram, we are on Thread, we are on YouTube. Please give us a look. Please give us a follow. Please give us a like. And we are your Costco of lacrosse. We are your one-stop shop for everything lacrosse. And it doesn't matter if it's women's box, women's field, men's box, men's field, PLL, MSL, WLA, NLL, we got you covered. NCAA, we've got you covered. Kufla in Canada, we've got you covered. And we have a lot of new things going to be upcoming soon. We have deals in the works also with Kufla as well. So we're going to be cutting edge with all of that stuff. So stick with us. We will have all the information as quickly as we humanly can to get it to you. Recap wise, we are recapping everything that's going on we are at the mercy of score sheets at times, because as much as I'd like to be at every game, I can't be at 3 games at the same time. So through video, through score sheets, and through the leagues and teams, are we able to get all this for you? So please stick with us here. We give everything up to the date, up to the moment, and as accurate as we humanly can.
With that being said, Water Dogs Redwoods, August 9th in Denver. That's the next to last weekend of the regular season.
Right.
So
don't forget to book your plane flight. All righty. So that about covers us for this week. It's been a busy week, Mike. And next week, Shawn will be back with us. Miss you, Shawn. Come back soon. He'll be back with us next week.
Pat will be back as well. So
Pat will be back with his Water Dogs update. Hopefully he's a little more upbeat. He was suicidal last weekend. So we're hoping he's a little more upbeat. With a Water Dogs win will put a bounce in his step, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
But we will be 1 week closer to the McDougall Memorial as well. It's just 2 weeks away. That's going to be huge. Yeah. Starting to hear some of the names that are going to be there. It's going to be exciting. There's some great former NLLers as well as current NLLers, just for having fun and playing. So, $10 is not a lot of money. So, by all means, parking is free at the track. So, you'll gain it back that way.
Sweet.
Absolutely. Anyways, why don't we call that a week? Any last words, Mike?
I'm just looking forward to, WLA's reaching the halfway point after this week. So that's going to be interesting to see the race for the last 2 spots or last 3 spots, depending on how tonight's games turn out.
Right.
That's what I'll be looking at tonight is it's a big gap to be 3 games back instead of, say, 1 game back.
Absolutely.
So between New West and Victoria.
And me, Kerr, I'm looking at being at the Six Nations game Tuesday, because that's going to be just a hell of a game.
Against Brooklyn.
Hell of a game.
Yeah.
And then Thursday, it's either going to be in Brampton or in Peterborough. I will be at one of those 2 games, just depending on my schedule and how it works. On the other show on Thursday, I'm supposed to have Kim Squire, former Rock player.
Excellent.
Excellent. I had a long chat with him, and we have a lot of issues to talk about, as well as his playing days and things like that. So really looking forward to it, and a nice candid interview with Kim. So have a look on Thursday at 4 p.m. For NLL Lacrosse Talk with yours truly and Frank Stanisi, and should be an excellent show. Also, I am looking at the Gales are in the playoffs right now, the Junior B. This Saturday night, if it goes 4 games, if they win it in 3, then I won't be there. But Saturday night, I'm looking to being out in Clarington for that. Maybe I'll be doing the anthems for them again, since I am the rabbit's foot, it seems. But we'll see what goes on. They got a great team, so we'll see what happens as they move on upward towards the Junior B championships. So, with that being said, for Muffler Mike over in Connecticut, I am Gary Groob, wishing you the best of weeks, and remember to keep your stick in your hand. And until next week, have a great week. We will see you next week at 9 p.m. Take care.